Hey everybody, welcome back to the Y Project. Today we have two guests, which I'm so excited about, and they're going to introduce themselves and then we'll dive right in. So, Lauren, go ahead.
I'm Lauren Oswald. I'm a family services coordinator for the high school, the junior high, and Acme Elementary. And what family services is, it's a special program of the district that gets to support families that might be facing some barriers, or students as well. Alleviate some burdens by like connecting them to resources, and hopefully alleviate like stress so that students can be doing their best at school.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I'm Mary Ann Welch, Family Service Coordinator over at Kendall Elementary. So go Cougars, anybody that was a Cougar. And yeah, I do what Lauren does. Also a huge kind of bulk of our work is working with any kids or families facing homelessness and or foster care youth. And then as Lauren mentioned, any families needing help with basic needs outside of school or at school so kids can succeed. And it's a great job because we get to work with the whole family. So I love that. The kids at school, the parents at home, little babies and toddlers at home. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, we're so fortunate that we can have you guys on campus and that these positions cover our whole district. So we have that kind of support at every school, which is just really awesome. So thanks for being here and being willing to take on that job. I know sometimes I'm sure it's not easy, but it's always rewarding and worth it. So tell us about kind of why you do what you do and how you got to be in this role.
Yeah, I'll go. So I've noticed a theme, I think, among people that have participated in the project that like what you thought you wanted to do when you were in high school or in college changed, and then maybe it changed again. And I think I'd echo that. When I was in high school, I think I wanted to do business. And then I went to Western, and I was lucky enough to have a professor who really shifted my thinking. Before that, I'm not sure if I had any idea how like, powerful the unearned privileges that I had were in getting me to university and in getting me where I am today. So like I'm white. I was born to two college educated parents in an affluent suburb, and all those things are privileges. So I'm in college and I'm like grappling with this fate that I didn't deserve or earn, and someone in like a poverty stricken community somewhere else in the world didn't deserve or earn their fate either. So this professor that I had kind of helped me to make meaning of this and became a mentor and still really is. But yeah, I think it isn't fair that our world holds these two truths and categorizes us for it. So I think what I do with the privilege that I have matters. And that's kind of what got me to human services and here today. I get to work with like students and families that might be in crisis. And I think of that as an honor that they're willing to let me be part of their journey, and problem solve or help them to achieve whatever goals they may have. And it doesn't happen every time, but I think when it does, and I get to witness someone who's worked really hard and is achieving the goal that they made for themselves, it's pretty awesome, and it's a good feeling. On a shorter note, I think something that motivates me and keeps me coming back is a bunch of passionate coworkers, as seen on the past like 14 episodes. And then last but not least, like connecting with people and getting to hear stories.
Yeah, that's so cool. We definitely have a passionate staff, and that's one of my favorite things about doing this project is it always reminds me of like how amazing our staff is and how much everyone really cares. So yeah, Marianne, what about for you?
I will echo the non-linear path. So I got my bachelor's in fine art. I took painting and drawing. And I was one of those people who was blissed out throughout college, and I thought I was going to be like the next big thing as a painter. And then I realized, oh my gosh, there's no like vocation for art students when you graduate college. So I had a mini freak out. And I worked with a guidance counselor at the college, and she helped me learn about AmeriCorps. And from there, I kind of pieced together that I liked working with people and decided to go back to school to be a teacher. And so I moved out to Washington and was doing AmeriCorps to see if I even liked working with youth. And uh, did a year of AmeriCorps in Snohomish County. And mind you, I came from Michigan. So when I got to Everett, I was like, this place is amazing. It's so beautiful. The mountains, the water, the Olympic Peninsula. But I know a lot of people that live here wouldn't say Everett's amazing. But I was pretty blissed out. I loved working with the youth during that year. And so I actually moved out to Bellingham, went to grad school for a master's in teaching with art education up at Western. And during that time, I could not find a job in Bellingham. I'm sure many of you know it's really hard to find a job. And I started working at a shelter called Lydia Place, and I was a night manager. I'd be there overnight. And I got to know the women and the kids, eventually started working in the kids group at Lydia Place. And then I just like fell in love with doing that kind of work. And so even though I graduated with my teaching degree, I subbed as a teacher, but it's super hard to get a teaching job as an art teacher. That's pretty limited. Not a lot of job openings there. And so I tried for a year, and then a position opened up full-time at Lydia Place to be what's called a family service coordinator. So working with the kids and the parents on family goals, supporting them and getting permanent housing, and just whatever kept the family happy and healthy. And I think that just kind of sent me on the rest of my path of loving working with kids and families. So I've worked at Lydia Place, Opportunity Council. I did Linden School District, same job for a couple of years. But I would echo, like, once I got, so I loved working at Lydia Place. It was like I could have stayed there forever, and things changed. But once I got in Mount Baker School District, it was like coming home again. It just, the staff and the families and the youth that we get to work with, like everybody is so resilient. And I often feel like, I think kind of like Lauren said, in the job I do, I learn just as much as the youth and families I work with about how to work hard and be resilient and be creative. So it is just like an ever evolving, cool job to have. Yeah, to see change in people's lives. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. I love that you're always like trying to learn too, like from the people that you serve, you know, it's a two-way street. That's really awesome.
And I always think in our job, like the biggest thing is we're just a cheerleader. We're like on the sideline, like, try this, you can do it, go. And just like teachers, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then when people score big, it's like, yeah, you got housing or food stamps or a job or.
Yeah, for sure. And being able to share those like celebrations with the families it's just amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, the next question that we always ask is what's kind of a challenge or a word of encouragement that you have for our viewers during this time?
Yeah, I heard this recently and it has stuck with me. That oftentimes when we ask people how they're doing, we don't have the time to listen to a real answer, or we don't give a real answer because we don't have time for it, or we think the other person doesn't have time for it. So I think my challenge is to ask someone how they're doing, and to listen. And next time someone asks you how you're doing, to genuinely answer. I think we all need connection, whether we're social distancing or not.
Yeah, that reminds me of this story my dad told me once in college. I won't share the whole story, but essentially he got asked how he was doing every day by his professor. And one day he was having like a terrible day and they were passing and he was like, "How are you?" And he was like, "I'm terrible." And the professor just kept walking because it was just like this routine thing, which I know is awful. And I'm sure the professor wasn't trying to like hurt his feelings or be a jerk, but that's just what reminded me of what you said, because we get into that habit of just asking how are you and expecting somebody to say good whether or not they're actually doing okay. So I like that. What about for you, Marianne? What's your challenge for us?
My challenge is, I was thinking more about it. I had some favorite quotes. I will share some favorite quotes. So
Yeah,
I went to like India in 2014, and one thing I learned, and I've heard from a lot of people that go, is you never know how much you have until you go to a third world country and experience real poverty. So we're talking not flushable toilets, not having regular drinking water, seeing people living on less than $1 a day. I still remember this rickshaw driver driving me back to the airport at the end. And he didn't have very good English, but he kept saying to me, like, "You so happy, like most Americans I meet, no happy, but you so happy." And I think he had a family of like 10 kids. Like, you could tell like he was kind of dirty, like not the best teeth, but like he was so happy. And that's what blew me away, like how little a lot of people there I met had, and yet how happy they can be. So I know this is like a really challenging time for people to find joy and happiness, but my challenge is to find that, or to just like kind of wrestle, like if you're uncomfortable or unhappy, like kind of just sit with it and wrestle with it a little bit. Of course, as I said, I'm an artist. I still do art. So I would say you can kind of make a joy wall, as people mentioned earlier, of like all the things you want to be or the goals you want to have, pictures you like that remind you of you, like when you're your best self, and just kind of like put it up somewhere to remind yourself on the bad days. You can also journal. I journal all the time. You know, the good stuff, the bad stuff, the stuff you wish you were doing right now, or the gratitude pieces you have in your life. But like somehow do something that brings you joy and makes you feel creative and happy. So
Yeah, those are all things that we can like we have control over in this time when it kind of feels like we don't have control over a lot of stuff, but I like that idea too.
and
Awesome.
here's the quote. This is the quote I got
Oh
from
yeah.
I think this is a good one. So it says, "If you are alone and you are getting bored, obviously you're in bad company. So be your best company right now."
I always heard boredom is a choice. Yeah. Go do something. Be creative.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you both so much for joining us today. I really appreciate your time, and we're really glad that both of you work at Baker. So thanks.
Can we mention Kate too, who didn't get to
Yeah,
meet?
go for it.
So Kate Davies is also another family service coordinator and a wonderful lady. She works at the Harmony Elementary 3 days a week, and then also helps at the early learning preschool. And so we're super grateful to have her as well.
Yeah, for sure. I haven't actually ever like met her. I've talked to her on the phone several times, but I've never seen her face. So maybe someday soon.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, thanks for doing this project, Emily. It's awesome.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
Have a great day, you guys.
If you need anything.
Oh yeah, I'll put your email addresses at the bottom of the recording so you guys people can reach out.
Awesome. Great. We're here. We're here to help.
Sweet. Well, thanks so much. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks.
You too.